Hello, I'm Carey Meitzler, along with head coach Christie Meeks for Pearl River Softball. I want to talk to you today about the great season they had. Also, we'll touch on some team accomplishments inside that season and also some individual accomplishments. Christie, first and foremost, your fourth full season here, counting the COVID year, with another great year for softball.
Unbelievable. I'm so proud of these girls. This sophomore class was fantastic. You know, they won so many games in 2 years. I think it was a total of 85 games in 2 years, and I'm so proud of them.
Let's talk about that 42-12 record this year. You had some huge series this year. I mean, some series that are memorable.
Yeah. So the first one that I would like to talk about is Parkland. Man, that was such a fun series. I think, you know, going extra innings both games and having Caroline walk it off in one of those games, and just our pitchers coming out and both of them excelling. We're playing top 5 rivalry games. I mean, it was a lot of fun. And then you look back, I think about our conference. You know, we played Chipola right before going into our conference, and that series was amazing. Our girls defensively, they played so defensively sound behind that. Charlie had like 2 diving catches in that game. Claire dove against their wall it was all bushes, and she had like trees stuck in her hair when she finished. I mean, they were just so tough. And then going into conference, run rule and co-lin, splitting with them, being able to split with Jones, having some big wins in conference. I think we were 21-7 through conference, and that just means a lot. Those girls played tough.
I want to kind of touch on this. You talked about Chipola and some of those, but your record against Division I this year, if I'm not mistaken, was 13-1.
13-1.
That says a lot about what your team accomplished.
They did, and they were just relentless with that. You know, in preseason, we played a lot of tough teams to prepare us for what conference was going to be like. I don't think anything really prepares you for conference. It's rivalry. Anybody can win at any moment in any game, and just depending on who you play the game before and what you're fixing to go into and where you are in the middle of the season, it's a grind with that. But to be able to prep them like we were and go in 13-1 in that preseason was huge.
Let's kind of talk about, you know, this team's a top 10 team all year in the polls, you know, and massive ratings were right up there and all. It takes a team that's consistent to do that. Yeah, you look at the wins, but you got to do something consistently good every week for people to look at that and say, hey, they deserve to be here. 100%.
You know, I think we were top 5 in every poll but 2. The very first one that came out, we were 6, and then the last one that came out, we ended 6. And I think that it's really neat. We were as high as 2 this year, and just to have those moments in practice, you know, when they came out, Dylan would text us and be like, hey, you're number 2. And so we would stop practice, and they would, you know, just put a different fire under their tail. And I was like, the target got bigger today, you know. So that was really cool to be nationally ranked and known like that, with how much effort that they're putting in. They saw all of their work come into play.
Yeah, look at those first 4 teams. Of course, we talked COVID year, but those first 4 teams and watching some of the games in person, watching Tyler call some on the stream, and watching some of your road games. The thing that I look at is every year this program's got a little bit closer to that top every year, building on that. Talk about that transition for you from coming here. Of course, you couldn't get out the gate because of COVID, but you had to sit and wait. But then all of a sudden, it just started happening. Kind of walk us through those 4 years from your perspective.
Culture, I think, was the biggest thing that we just invested in. You know, bringing in the girls, we told them our expectations. We're going to support every team here on campus, and that is important to us. We want to make sure that you guys are loud, that we're knowing that we're holding ourselves accountable with pride, respect, class, character. And our girls have done that, you know, and I think changing in that culture is what has produced what we're doing on the field. Those expectations are high, and they know it when they come in here and they hold themselves to that standard. When we walk off of the bus, when we walk out of that wonderful facility, We're doing it with our chest held up. With we're not fearing anybody else. We're working for the people that are here at Pearl River.
Let's talk a little bit about this year's team. Let's look at offense first. Boy, you put up some big numbers. I'm going to read these because I want to read them because when you look at it on paper, it's more than just hearing it.
Yeah.
I almost want to hold up cards. 333 team batting average, 552 slugging percentage, your on base percentage at 415, 62 home runs, 79 stolen bases.
Wow. The one that stands out to me the most is 79 stolen bases. Yeah. So kind of a backstory on that. This fall when we came in, we timed them from home to first, and home to home we get all their times. And our fastest runner was a 3.0 from home to first. And in softball, that's just average usually. And I looked at Coach McKinney and Coach Anton, and I'm like, y'all, we got some work. We're not stealing a base this year.
Right.
And that's a huge testament to these girls. They go out, they did their programs, they did their plans. Coach Constance Quinn would send us some plans on how to get better and faster and stronger. And they did that. Natalie Toops, Charlie Meadows. There was one game we played here against Parkland. There's 2 outs. We're in the bottom of, I think it was the 7th inning, actually, and Nat steals third because she saw the pitcher wasn't looking up, and the pitcher overthrows third, and we score a run off of it. Charlie stole home this year. Just things that gives me chills because knowing from the fall what we calculated and going into this year, that number stands out so much to me. But a 333 batting average, that's the highest that we've had in 5 years. I was so proud of our offense this year. One game in particular, a doubleheader series against Gulf Coast, we hit 10 home runs. It's so cool to watch what they're doing.
You mentioned those home runs. Didn't break a record, but tied a record this year. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, Lainey Bailey, man, what about her? She comes in a transfer from southeastern Louisiana, and she just excels, not only on the mound, but she leads our offense. And she led it in the 3-hole all year long. She would come up. We played a game early in the year against Baton Rouge, and the pitcher had a real nasty backdoor curveball kind of coming at you and falling away. And she led the offense and saying, guys, this is how we're adjusting to this. This is how I got to hit. And just being a leader in that area. I think that was really awesome for her to do. So home run wise, she came in clutch with some. And tying it with 18, that was amazing. 18
home runs, 61 RBIs for Lainey. Peyton, what a year she had. Double-digit home runs, 57 RBIs, swing it well all year long.
All year long. She is a testament who just a natural talent kid. Coming in from volleyball, she wasn't even here all fall. She didn't come down to practice with us. Juliana, her freshman year, would come down and watch practices a little bit. And I talked to Coach Chatham, and I said, I want her to invest solely in volleyball. And Coach Chatham, she agreed. So when she came down in softball, we were actually in our last week of workouts. And we were working out every day. It was kind of like a toughness week. And bless her heart, she was struggling. She was like, this is not the right week for me to come down. And she, looking back now, though, she enjoyed that week because it was a little bit of a push. She got that end push coming into the spring with us. And what a huge job she did. She split time in the outfield and at first base for most of the season, and then really just settled in right field and did a great job for us.
Let's talk a little bit about you. We mentioned Lainey. Of course, she's a two-way. I call them two-way players. She pitches, she hits well. The job that she and Natalie did this year, phenomenal. When you look at the numbers and start adding up the strikeouts against walk ratio, it's solid. But those two, just kind of talk about in a capsule the year each of them had for you. And they had to work through some struggles, some injuries, and things of that nature as well, which makes it more impressive.
That's exactly right. You know, Natalie was Natalie all year long. She had a confidence and an air about her going into the season. She was able to sign with Southern Miss. This is the first year ever. We had 2 signees in the fall. She was able to sign with Southern Miss and kind of get that off of her back going into her sophomore season. And she just pitched that way. You know, she was confident. When we were at Chipola, they had their radar going on the screen, and she was constantly at 63, 64. In her little body, she gave every ounce of effort. She would cut people up with her little screwball, her rise ball jumping, and then her changeup on 3-2 counts. She wasn't afraid to throw those. I thought over the last 2 years, Natalie grew so much mentally. She learned that she has something specific to give to a pitching staff. And you have to have a staff to win. And it's not just about being number one all the way through. You've got to have more number ones than just a number one. You've got to have at least 3 to be really, really great in this league. So for her, I think that was a huge learning lesson, and she just capitalized on it. I thought also what was really cool about her and Lainey, going into Lainey a little bit, they loved and supported each other so much. They competed at practice and they wanted each other to be the best, you know, but they really genuinely loved each other. They had each other's backs. They wanted to fight for each other. When Nat finished her job, Lainey wanted to do hers, you know, and I thought that was really awesome. And both of them led in different ways. Lainey had a great season as well. I thought that she got so much better. She got a change-up this year, which is not an easy task to do when you're 19, 20 years old, is to learn a different change-up. And she was able to really grasp a hold of that and grow in the different speeds that she had, and then utilize those up and down. Her movement up and down and her curveball were things that were hard to hit.
Let's talk about awards. I mean, from an individual perspective on a national level and, you know, in the conference level, I mean, you had so many girls that were part of that this year. Kind of touch on some of that.
You know, so we had 9 players with NFCA Scholar Awards. So that means they had a 3.5 or higher GPA for the whole year long. So that was huge. And then we had 1 NFCA first team, which was Natalie Harrington. We had 2 NFCA second teams, which were Peyton and Lainey. We have 8 MAC players. You know, we had Pitcher of the Year again this year. That was the second year in a row. Brinson won it last year, and then Natalie won it this year for the MAC. We had two or three. Was it 3 first team? I think it was 3 first team. Natalie Harrington, Morgan Laverne, and Lainey as a DP. She was first team. And then 2 second team. Lainey had pitching on second team, and Peyton Hoffmeyer was a second team outfielder, and then 2 honorable mentions. So Bryn Daughtery, which we didn't touch on Bryn, but what a season she had as well. She was our 4-hole hitter right behind Lainey. You know, a lot of times when Lainey was walked, she was put in a tough situation. So we had her as an honorable mention. And then our only other freshman besides Peyton was Caroline Lindsay. And wow, what a clutch player she was this year. So,
yeah, you talk about this season, you use the word grind. That's the word I use when I look at anything in the Mississippi Conference. You know, the MACCC is a grind. I don't care what sport it is, it's a grind, because the schedule you got to play. You're playing midweek, you're playing that Friday or Saturday every week. And most of the time you don't get back to back. You got to go on the road and come back and get in late, and they got to go to class. But when you look at that, and there's so many highs and so many lows in that, and I think it's a testament to the way you have taken this team and molded this team this year and years past, particularly this year, to keep this team focused to make that journey. From a coaching perspective, what are some of the things you think about during those highs and lows that you think they want to hear from you?
You know, there's a lot of things that happen in the middle of a season. These girls go through a lot. You know, the highs are always the wins. It's always the fun experiences that they have. The lows are the losses. I remember this specific season after one loss, we had to make a statement because that was a big deal in conference. You can't lose games in conference on the road that are unexpected, and so that was some lows that you face. So through those highs and lows, being consistent in who you are, something that we tell our girls all the time, you are a player on the field, and your performance is going to be good some days, your performance is going to be bad some days. I mean, you can go 3 for 10 and you're successful in this league, so you're gonna fail. That's inevitable. However, when you are off the field, when you are a human, when you're a person, that is the most important. And how you handle those things and what you do with those things, that's what you're going to take for years to come. So what you guys do in the dorms, what you guys do supporting everybody else, how you conduct yourself and what pride you take on your field, that's the most important things. And I think that through the highs and through the lows of winning, that consistency of being who you are keeps you level and keeps you grounded. It is a long season. I mean, we played 54 games this season. I mean, some series we can play 60, and it takes a lot out of these girls. But staying healthy, trying to keep their preventative stuff, that comes from the weight room, but mostly just being good human beings and realizing that all these memories, you're going to remember some of the wins, you're going to remember some of the losses, but you're going to mostly remember the memories that you have with those people. So why not make it great? It's
a team sport, but let's kind of touch base. This group of sophomores, you talked about the wins they've been a part of the last 2 years. I'm going to use this word, they've elevated this program to the next step. Just kind of talk about that class, when they came in, when you recruited them, and then how they played out. Just your thoughts on that class as a whole.
It's so funny. Morgan Laverne, we knew that she was going to be a great player coming in. She was an out-of-state player coming from Louisiana, but we had a shortstop that had started 2 years before Morgan came in, so we were really looking at her as a third baseman. When she came in, I called her in the fall, and I was like, listen, you're going to play shortstop for us, and I need you to get ready for that. And that kid was our leadoff and our shortstop in all of the 85 games that they played. I don't think that she came off of the field. And that was a testament to who she was and what she did. She practiced like 7 people were going to take her position, and played like she was 8 foot tall, and she was a good little 4 foot whatever, barely skirting 5. Right. So I love that, and I'm so proud of her for that. And I think she was our captain this past year. Her and Bryn Daughtery, those two just led in such a way that with grace. And then Bryn, our other captain, she had this mothering personality off of the field. She made sure that the freshmen were good and they knew what was happening. Right. She kept their grades. She helped us keep grades in check. She was a scholar athlete in just so many different areas. And then on the field, she led by example. She was the mouth. She was our first baseman. She commanded a lot of the stuff that happened. And I think about Claire Clavis, who laid it out on the line for us in left field, took away so many plays. She made a diving catch into the fence. She dove and caught some triangle balls. She even jumped up and stole a home run. I mean, there were so many plays that she made. Ashlyn Dean, the energy Ashlyn brought every day. I was so amazed. She brought it to the basketball games. She brought it to the softball field. She brought it when she was hitting, when she was out in the outfield. She had overcome so many things in her life, injuries and different stuff, and brought that energy like she had never had before. We have Charlie Meadows, who I wish that I could give her a golden glove. I mean, she just made plays that were unbelievable. You've got our pitchers and our pitching staff, Natalie Harrington and Laney. We've talked on them. Right. Natalie Toops. golly, that kid, she has health-wise overcame so many different things. And to lay on the line and do the stuff that she did this year, she was a right-handed hitter and slapped a little bit in high school, but mostly hit right-handed. Came over and really did a great job for us on the short game and excelled in that. Was our 2-hole hitter for multiple games that we had during this season. 9-hole her freshman year. I can remember in the regional tournament last year, she would turn the lineup over with 2 outs and Morgan would hit a home run. There was just things that stands out about all of these girls. Transfer in the middle of the year, Madeline Bergwin, coming in and just excelling with so many things. Riley Wallace, she was the most unselfish player we have ever had in clutch and pitch hitting. She came in times that we really needed a runner, a base runner, somebody to get on base. She would get hit, get walked, get a hit. This sophomore class is just unbelievable in the stuff that they did, winning 85 games, but not just that. They set the tone with the culture. They made sure that the girls that coming in knew, listen, this is how we do things. This is what we do. Whether we win or lose, we go and shake their hands. And if they don't shake hands, then we tell them good game. We don't downgrade people. This is what our program's about. Right. And they really entrusted and believed in what we were doing. And they fought. I believe that each and every one of them would run through a brick wall for us.
You touch on that, that cohesiveness there. And I think it kind of boils over to the administration here. I mean, we're sitting in this beautiful press box, which you waited for a long time for. The concrete out here behind first base, the wonderful area. You waited through contractor after contractor delays. But now with that in place and the success you had, when you bring a young lady and their family onto this campus, first and foremost, and then when you bring them back here, it's special to show them and say, hey, look what we got now.
That's exactly right.
Talk about how you look at that now from where you were 4 years ago, the facility you got here. Yeah, you've had success, but now you've got the facility, you've had that success. You talk to a recruit out there, it's a message you can send that's very positive.
100%. I feel like those first couple of years, it was take a chance with me. Yeah. Now it's, okay, let's do this together. Let's go. We're here. Let's take it to another step.
Right.
Even more so. And I think that's that consistent message that we send to the recruits is come and have fun with us. This is about culture. This is about loving the game and playing with passion and playing with mudita. That's that passion that you want others to succeed even more than you want yourself to succeed. So let's do that together with all of this, because I'll be honest with you, this right here is special. There's not another facility in this state that has the shade that we have, that has the breeze, that has the views. And I think that that's a testament to our administration. God, I cannot thank them enough for what they do and the support from our coaching staffs. Being able to sit down and say, all right, guys, this is a long season. How do you do this, Coach Avalon? How do you do this, Coach Fletcher, Oni, Coach Chatham, Coach Smith? What can I do to help support you in your season? Because they do that to us in ours.
Christie, 2024 was really good. It was great.
Yeah.
2025, no one can wait. I'm telling you, the sky's the limit for what you've done. You're going to have on the way to a great recruiting year with what you got coming back. Another banner year for your Wildcats ahead, I'm sure.
I'm very excited. We have 6 sophomores where 5 of them were starters and coming in and doing what they did. We've got a lot of great freshmen coming in, a brand new pitching staff. Just some new beginnings, and that's kind of what I'm starting to call this year is some new beginnings, and I think that that's a cool start, knowing what we are at and where we are, knowing the bar that these phenomenal sophomores have set for us. now taking that to another step, let's run with it. Let's do what nobody else has done here at Pearl River in those women's sports and softball, and take us to a national tournament. Let's go to some different things. We're relentlessly fighting for those opportunities.
I think we'd both be remiss if we didn't thank Athletic Director Patrick Oates for everything he's done. Of course, we mentioned Dr. Brewerwood, administration, Dr. Long, and also Richard Gleaver, and also Tyler Johnson and Dylan Dunaway. I mean, just does he ever sleep? Same with Richard. I think, and I hear this from folks all the time, man. Everything at Pearl River, it just seems like y'all look to make it better every year, not just on the field, but behind the scenes. And I said, well, when you got a Patrick Oates involved, you've got a Dylan Dunaway and Richard Gleaver, and the job that Tyler does on your streams. I said, that's why. But those are great people. They do so much for this program.
They really do. I can't say thank you enough, for the stuff that they give us, and not just what they give us, but also the stuff that they instill in each other, It starts with Dr. Brewerwood. He's up at the top, and Jeff and Dr. Long. That's
we got to change that, don't we?
Yeah, Dr. Long and even Dr. Smith, and the stuff that she does with our athletes, making sure that they have the classes and the things. I mean, there's a huge testament to everything that is done, and I also want to thank my husband. He doesn't get thanked enough either for the stuff that he does, because, during season, it's a grind. And the stuff that we do on the field, I think it's awesome to have the support from your family to be able to invest in all of these things.
I have one last note on that. When you're on the road, we see Eric, because usually we're at home with baseball and he's around, and he handles it well.
He does.
Mr. Mom for those days, and he does a great job.
He sure does.
Christie, so good to see you. Great job this year. Look forward to next year.
Yes, sir.
Roll, River, roll.